Breaking news this afternoon, Lexington Catholic High School now faces 3 lawsuits from former students. The details on the allegations.
Textbook thieves target the UK campus, and police are looking into similar cases at other schools.
There's been a victory in the fight against drugs in Kentucky. What happened when 3 overdose deaths went to court?
WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
Good afternoon to you. We continue to track breaking news this afternoon out of Lexington. 3 former Lexington Catholic students have filed a lawsuit against the school and the Diocese of Lexington.
That legal action comes after some former students came forward with complaints of harassment or discrimination last spring. Our Garrett Weimer's live outside the Fayette Circuit Courthouse with the breaking details. Garrett?
Yeah, continuing to read through these 3 lawsuits, 40 pages in total of claims that Lexington Catholic High School discriminated against 3 former students. The lawsuit alleges that the school violated Kentucky's Civil Rights Act. The suit names administrators, teachers, coaches, and other students, and claims that 1 white female student was sexually harassed and 2 male black students were racially harassed. The lawsuits list claims that go back to 2013 and include racially charged text messages such as, quote, "I'm going to lynch you." The Washington, D.C. civil rights attorney on the case says he, quote, "fully expects justice to be done."
If we did not know that the law was on our side, we would not be filing a lawsuit. We would not be filing a second lawsuit. We would not be filing the 3rd lawsuit. This is serious. We need to correct these errors, and we're going into open court to do so.
In a statement, Lexington Catholic High School's Vice President for Advancement says they are aware of these recently filed claims, but they won't comment because it's a legal matter. Live in Lexington, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Garrett, thank you. If you want some more details, we do have a copy of the lawsuits attached to this story on WKYT.com. Check that out. We have showers and storms moving across the area this afternoon.
Yeah, and they're bringing us heavy rains and a lot of lightning. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey shows us what's on the radar right now.
Yeah, it's full of these waves of showers and thunderstorms that are progressing from west to east, but the individual action kind of coming at us from the southwest. It's that same flow that is straight out of the tropics in the Gulf of Mexico. Seeing the strongest thunderstorm right now is in a little line into parts of eastern Kentucky. Let's get you caught up on exactly where that is. That is stretching from West Liberty to Campton. Now a little thunder and lightning around Beattyville into Lee County. Strongest part of this storm is right on top of the Wrigley area, Route 7, 519 out of Moorhead toward West Liberty and on 460. And the worst of that is just now getting into the downtown West Liberty area out by Morgan County High School. Boy, it is raining to beat the band. To the southwest into Hazel Green on the Mountain Parkway and dealing with showers and thunderstorms into downtown Campton. Some of that extends into parts of Lee County now. And those storms are spiking. Look at your 3D Defender. Notice how even a couple of storms out ahead of that are beginning to spike way up in the atmosphere. So Jackson, Salyersville, and into West Liberty will watch for some high winds potentially coming from those storms as they race their way on in. Additional showers and thunderstorms developing to the southwest into Laurel County. Stuff is winding down just a little bit into the Bluegrass area compared to what we were seeing a bit ago, but the flow is still there. That can give us some additional rounds of showers and thunderstorms. A look south of Bowling Green. How about that thunderstorm that is blowing up fairly quickly? Your hour-by-hour future radar says to watch the southern skyline for some additional action as the evening wears on. Guys, we'll come back in a few minutes and show you how I'm tracking 2 big-time cold fronts across the region.
And 2 Red Cross volunteers left Lexington today to help the victims of those devastating floods in Louisiana.
The volunteers will help feed the thousands of people forced from their homes. Today, officials announced more deaths, bringing the toll to 10. Don Champion has the latest now on the situation in our top story at 5.
Larry Lee felt helpless as he watched floodwaters swallow his town.
So I kind of respected it, but I just couldn't picture it.
For days, residents in Sorrento, south of Baton Rouge, knew the water was coming. In just a matter of hours, Lee's mother's home flooded. His could be next.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends that are just losing everything. I got friends that drove out and then lost everything. And
As the water rose, volunteers from a local college filled sandbags for homeowners determined to protect their property. People here in Sorrento and other parts of Ascension Parish say they're bracing for the possibility of at least another foot of water by tonight. To the north in Baton Rouge, floodwaters are finally receding. Water was up to the roof of this home. Now you can see the entire structure. The governor says 40,000 homes are damaged and about 20,000 people had to be rescued.
We understand that there's still a lot of people who are suffering.
Some flood victims are getting a first look at their damaged homes.
It looks devastating, but it's not. It's just something we're going to deal with, get better with it, and make it happen, buddy.
Even with massive property damage, many residents are determined to rebuild. Don Champion, CBS News, Sorrento, Louisiana.
More than 11,000 people are in shelters. 30,000 homes and businesses have no power. We are tracking the investigation into a string of textbook thefts on the UK campus.
The books were stolen from the College of Nursing on Saturday. As our Hillary Thornton shows us, this is not the first case at UK, and similar thefts have taken place at other schools.
University of Kentucky police say it is likely a well-organized group that is responsible for hitting more than a dozen offices here inside the College of Nursing building. Police Chief Joe Monroe says the break-ins happened this past week in a time when he says there were not any classes going on inside of the building. He says the thieves pried open the locked doors to around 18 offices, stealing textbooks from inside. Now, this is not the first case of textbook thefts this summer on campus.
This is pretty similar to some issues we had in June and July where some buildings in the sort of the heart of campus over here, Castle Hall and Grian, same sort of crime where some unoccupied offices were forcibly entered into.
Investigators also looking into the possible connection with textbook thefts at other universities, including Eastern Kentucky University and Morehead State. Campus police putting out the crime bulletin to make folks aware and as a reminder to keep valuables in a safe, secure place, including textbooks.
Textbooks are a valuable commodity. I'm sure there's a market out there for that kind of thing. But no, obviously textbooks are quite valuable, can be expensive. And so those would be the kinds of valuables along with other things that you would think about that ought to be locked down before you leave for the night.
Police encourage folks here on campus to report anything that might be suspicious immediately. They also say it is important to make sure all doors and windows are locked while away. In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
And police say at this point they are unsure exactly how many textbooks were stolen.
It is a sign of just how bad the drug epidemic is. First responders in Huntington, West Virginia responded to 26 overdoses in 4 hours. 5 of those people overdosed in the same house. We're told most of the victims admitted to using heroin. Investigators are trying to figure out where the batch came from and why it's so dangerous. The U.S. Attorney's Office says there have been some victories in the fight against drugs here in Kentucky. The office got 3 convictions in drug overdose deaths yesterday. As WKYT Sean Moody shows us, it's just a step in solving a complicated problem.
One of the big problems U.S. Attorney Kerry Harvey says they're seeing is that people often think they're just buying heroin, but it turns out they're getting fentanyl, which is 100 times more powerful than morphine.
This horrible crisis calls for an all-hands-on-deck solution.
Harvey said his office started being really aggressive with prosecuting opiate dealers about a year and a half ago.
We came to realize that as the levels of overdose deaths just grew and grew and grew, that this was a tool that we were not using as effectively as we should.
Yesterday, his office got convictions from 3 overdose death cases. That included 2 men from Detroit convicted of distributing fentanyl in Madison County. He said it was the first time his office has gotten convictions involving people from Michigan as part of the Detroit drug pipeline.
A lot of folks have moved here from Detroit, just like these gentlemen, for only one reason, and that's to establish heroin distribution organizations in our communities because they have found business to be very good here.
Harvey says this is a good first step.
I believe we have to get this right. This is not a problem we can live with. This is a problem that will destroy our communities if we don't solve it.
Harvey discussed 3 big cases for them in just the past few days. He says they have about a dozen more in the pipeline. In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Harvey said he hopes the tougher penalties, a minimum of 20 years in federal prison, will be a deterrent to other drug dealers.
A man accused of stealing a gun from a Lexington store is in jail. Police arrested David Hunt Jr. in Madison County last night. Lexington police say he stole the gun from Cabela's back in June. He's been charged with theft. It's been a week since 2 of her children fell from a Ferris wheel at a county fair. A Tennessee mom describing the terrifying situation ahead.
Which health screenings do men need most? We clear up the confusion in Better Living.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Showers, thunderstorms marching across the area again today, and they're putting down a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning in a few cases. Let's get into your Defender radar network that has been awfully busy today, and look at those thunderstorms exploding into southeastern Kentucky and threatening to maybe produce a little, at least localized wind damage over the next hour and change. Nice little line that is forming from Sandy Hook through West Liberty and especially on top of Campton. Let's get you up close and personal on the Morgan County area, where you've got a lot of thunder and lightning around Woods Bend up into the Wrigley area, and that extends to the east toward Crockett. That'll eventually move into Johnson County, Hazel Green. If you've been down the Mountain Parkway, you know this area gets a little curvy here into Wolfe County, and we're likely to see some ponding of water on roads there into Wolfe County. Slow down, take it easy. Beattyville, Boonville, and points to the south. Just south of McKee, thunder and lightning increasing, and we're watching a little cell to the northwest of London in Laurel County that is trying to pick up the pace a little bit too. Lighter rains back to the west, a lot of overcast conditions into the Bluegrass region. Still a little shower that is basically hanging right on top of the BG Parkway. Lexington had some heavier rains a little earlier this afternoon. The front, though, responsible for all this, believe it or not, is still well to our west. It is taking its good old sweet time getting through here. And once it gets through here, it's not going to get far away from us. It'll put the brakes on to our south. Over the next couple of days, models still say, you know what, I'm going to throw some more thunderstorms at you. That can drop a quick inch or two, similar to what happened yesterday, similar to what we're seeing out there now. May see it again tomorrow. Hour-by-hour forecast this evening through early tomorrow morning with at least scattered shower thunderstorm where you live. That'll increase as the day goes on. Temperatures tomorrow afternoon, if we hold under clouds all day long with some showers and storms, you know what? You're going to stay in the 70s for a high. You break out into a little hazy sunshine for a time, you can hit 80 or a little better. Tomorrow evening, that front starts to pull away to our south and southeast. So as we go into Thursday, I've got my fingers crossed that we can get in on a little break in the action for an extended period of time Thursday afternoon and evening. I say I've got my fingers crossed that we can do that, because on Friday, high school football fans, as we kick off a new season, the deeper we get into the afternoon and evening, the better the chance for at least some scattered showers and some thunderstorms. That'll take us to the weekend, when we get another big push of some juice from the Gulf of Mexico. Saturday and early Sunday, showers, thunderstorms will begin to break out again, could become fairly widespread ahead of a cold front that will dive toward the area. So by Sunday, this front is beginning to press on through here. And as that front actually clears the region into Monday, it may kind of just wipe the air clean of the humidity, of the toasty temperatures, and the routine showers and thunderstorms we've had pretty much every day all summer long. So a little September preview coming down the road into early next week. I know if you're like me, you're thinking, all right, let's get there and let's see what actually happens, because this pattern has been awfully stubborn. Daily round of some thunderstorms tomorrow with some locally heavy downpours. Thursday, smaller threat. Friday, we start to ramp up those chances again, and storms become likely this weekend. But look at next week. There's a chance, there's a good chance we have at least a day or two into the upper 70s and a few lows that may drop as low as 55 degrees. I'll take that. Wet roads across central Kentucky, obviously from the earlier rains, causing several accidents across town. We've got at least 4 that crews are working on, and you see a lot of red showing up on that map. Typical slowdowns around New Circle Road and Nicholasville Road. Slow down, take it easy.
What will we do with ourselves with those different temperatures?
I know what I will do. I will just kick up my feet over here, put them up, and just try to get out and enjoy it.
Check out, right?
Yeah, for at least a day.
Enjoy.
That's right.
Chris, thank you.
Parents describe that terrifying night they watched their children fall from a Ferris wheel.
Pay for police became the topic of conversation at a Richmond City Commission meeting again today. Why the issue is causing frustration on both sides on WKYT News at 5:30.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Police have started a death investigation after finding a man's body in a storage building. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Mason County. Police made the discovery in the building behind a home on Forest Avenue around noon Saturday. The Ledger Independent reports the man has been identified as 37-year-old Alan McKinney. Police are asking anyone with information in the case to contact them. In Hardin County, a man accused of killing a co-worker has been found competent to stand trial. Police say Joshua Ratliff shot and killed Ryan Burse at a KFC Taco Bell in February. No trial date has been set. The News Enterprise reports Ratliff has been in the Hardin County Jail on $1 million cash bond since February 25th.
The sister of a man shot and killed by police in Milwaukee says the officer and her brother knew each other. Police say the officer fired at 23-year-old Slyville Smith when he ran from a traffic stop on Saturday. The officer has not been identified, but he is 24. Smith's sister says the pair went to the same high school. A California man has been charged with 17 counts of arson for a wildfire that's burned 4,000 acres. The suspect is accused of starting that fire near the town of Lower Lake, along with some other fires during the past year. The fire has destroyed 175 homes and businesses and forced thousands of people to evacuate. A week after two girls fell from a Ferris wheel in Tennessee, their parents are recounting that horrifying day. They were watching from the ground as their daughters rode the Ferris wheel at the Greene County Fair last Monday. Their bucket had reached the top of the wheel when Mom and Dad noticed something was very wrong. Kimmy Reynolds says that's when she and her husband started running.
And we're yelling, stop, 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 you know. And he just looked at us and he pushed the button anyway. And so we just watched them tumble out just one by one. It was a nightmare.
6-year-old Briley Reynolds suffered a traumatic brain injury but is showing signs of improvement. Her 10-year-old sister Kayla suffered a broken arm and says she is feeling better. They typically use canines, but this week police in Kentucky are learning how to track without man's best friend. We'll show you the training on WKYT News at 5:30.
The effects Tylenol taken during pregnancy can have on your baby later in life, and clearing up confusion over men's health screenings. The story's next in Better Living. It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. A new study shows you're more likely to have a hyperactive child if you take Tylenol during pregnancy. Acetaminophen, the main ingredient in Tylenol, is to blame. Researchers found it increases the risk children will have emotional and behavioral problems. Authors say it should only be taken when necessary to minimize that risk. A new men's health survey shows many men are stumped when it comes to important life-saving health screenings. Erica Foreman shows us which screenings cause the most confusion and which should be a priority.
Many men, regardless of age, don't know when to be screened for certain health conditions, according to a new Cleveland Clinic survey. Dr. Edmund Sabani isn't surprised and says some men take better care of their cars than their bodies.
Those of us who love our cars would not bring our car in out of oil, burned out engine, and that's the situation we risk getting in with men.
Survey results show that only 1/3 of men knew that screening for colon cancer begins at age 50, sooner if you're at high risk.
Colon cancer is one of the cancers that is extremely preventable and treatable. If we find it early, we can really take great care of this man.
There's also confusion among men when it comes to prostate cancer screenings.
50 is the magic number where we start recommending physical exams and PSA blood tests, which is a blood test that screens for prostate cancer. If you have a high-risk situation, like a relative who's had prostate cancer, we would recommend screening earlier, usually at 45.
More than half of the men surveyed believed heart screening tests begin at 40 or older, and that blood pressure screenings start at 35, when both actually start at age 20.
We see cardiac disease now as a growing problem in much younger men than we used to see it. So it's very important that they get at least an initial blood pressure and some screening at 20.
Dr. Sabani says it's also a good idea for men to have their cholesterol checked. It's recommended that everyone 20 and older be checked at least every 5 years. At Cleveland Clinic, I'm Erica Foreman.
Dr. Sabani says it's important to adhere to the recommended screenings because in many cases an issue can be caught and treated early versus having to deal with a significant health issue later. Apple has been granted a patent that hints at a possible waterproof feature for the new iPhone. The patent highlights editing tools for underwater photography. The technology would ensure scenes taken underwater could stay vivid and maintain a blue water hue. Apple is expected to announce the iPhone 7 next month. Now, here's what's coming up for you at 5:30.